There is a story in every woman's heart, a story of triumph, resilience, and self-discovery waiting to be written. Today, I want to share a vision of a woman who stopped waiting for rescue and decided to become her own hero. She is not a fictional character or someone you read about in myths and legends. She is real, and her journey begins the moment she recognizes her own worth. This woman didn't always feel strong. There was a time when she doubted herself, questioned her abilities, and placed her value in the hands of others. She waited for approval, for validation, for someone to come and tell her she was enough. But one day, in the quiet of her struggle, she had a revelation. She realized that no one was coming to save her, not because she wasn't deserving, but because the power to change her life was already within her. Her first step toward heroism was recognizing her own worth. She stopped looking outward for validation and began to see herself as God sees her, fearfully and fully and wonderfully made, with a purpose as unique as her fingerprints. She understood that her value was not determined by her circumstances, mistakes, or the opinions of others. It was intrinsic, woven into her very being by the Creator Himself. But recognition was just the beginning. Like any hero, she faced adversity. Life threw obstacles her way, disappointments, failures, and betrayals that could have broken her. Yet she chose not to see these challenges as reasons to give up, but as opportunities to rise. Every setback became a lesson, every trial a teacher. The pain she endured did not define her, it refined her, shaping her into a woman of resilience and strength. What set her apart was her decision to take responsibility for her own life. She stopped waiting for someone to rescue her from her circumstances. Instead, she became her own advocate, her own motivator, her own solution. She realized that the key to unlocking her future was in her hands. By taking ownership of her choices, she reclaimed her power. In her pursuit of self-mastery, she cultivated inner strength and wisdom. She learned to silence the voices of doubt and fear, replacing them with faith and determination. She embraced discipline, setting goals and working tirelessly to achieve them. She sought knowledge and wisdom, knowing that growth comes from continuous learning and self-reflection. As she grew, she didn't just change her life, she inspired others. Her story became a legacy, a beacon of hope for those who were still searching for their strength. She didn't seek to be anyone's savior, but by leading her own life with courage and authenticity, she showed others what was possible. And through it all, she trusted in God's plan. She knew her strength alone wasn't enough. It was God's grace that guided her steps and gave her the courage to move forward. She aligned her life with His purpose, trusting that His timing was perfect and His plans for her were good. This woman is a reminder to us all that true heroism begins within. She didn't wait for someone else to define her story. She wrote it herself, with faith as her pen and courage as her ink. To every woman listening today, you have the power to become your own hero. Recognize your worth. Rise above adversity. Take ownership of your life. Cultivate your inner strength. Create a legacy. And most importantly, trust in God's plan for you. The woman who became her own hero wasn't born extraordinary, she chose to be. And so can you? Recognizing her own worth was a turning point in her life, a moment of awakening that reshaped her perspective and set her on the path to transformation. For so long, she had looked outside herself for validation, seeking approval from others, and measuring her value by the standards imposed by society. She chased accolades, relationships, and roles, hoping they would affirm her significance. But despite her efforts, she often felt empty, questioning whether she was truly enough. The change began when she paused to reflect on the pattern of seeking from others what could only be found within. She realized that no amount of external praise or recognition could fill the void inside. The problem wasn't her abilities, appearance, or achievements, it was her belief about herself. She had unknowingly accepted the lie that her worth was conditional, tied to what she could do or how others perceived her. Breaking free from this mindset required courage, introspection, and a willingness to confront the truth. In her quiet moments of reflection, she came to understand that her worth was not something to be earned, but something that had always been there. It was intrinsic, woven into her very existence by the Creator. She was valuable simply because she was alive. This realization was liberating. It allowed her to step off the exhausting treadmill of performance and into the peace of acceptance. She no longer needed to strive for approval because she began to see herself through the lens of her God-given identity, worthy, loved, and complete. As she embraced this truth, she noticed a shift in her relationships and interactions. Recognizing her worth gave her the confidence to set boundaries, refusing to accept treatment that diminished her value. She stopped apologizing for her needs and started prioritizing her well-being. This wasn't selfishness, it was self-respect. She understood that honoring her worth didn't mean thinking less of others, but it meant refusing to think less of herself. This newfound awareness also ignited her sense of purpose. When she stopped doubting her value, she found the freedom to pursue her passions and goals with boldness. She no longer hesitated to take risks or seize opportunities because she knew her worth wasn't tied to the outcome. Whether she succeeded or stumbled, her value remained constant. This gave her the resilience to keep moving forward, learning and growing along the way. Recognizing her worth also deepened her connection to others. Instead of competing or comparing, she began to celebrate the worth in those around her. Secure in her own value, she had no need to diminish others to feel significant. Her confidence became a source of inspiration, encouraging those in her circle to see their own worth as well. Ultimately, recognizing her worth was not just about self-empowerment, it was about living authentically. She no longer felt the need to wear masks or conform to expectations that didn't align with her true self. This authenticity brought her peace, joy, and a sense of fulfillment that no external validation could ever provide. By embracing her worth, she unlocked the door to a life of purpose, freedom, and impact, a life where she was truly at home with herself. Rising above adversity is a powerful demonstration of inner strength and resilience. It is the ability to face challenges head-on, knowing that difficulties do not define you but shape you into a stronger, more capable individual. For many, adversity is seen as an obstacle, but for those who choose to rise above it, it becomes a transformative experience. The journey begins with a shift in mindset. It's easy to fall into despair when faced with hardships, to allow the weight of the situation to crush your spirit. However, those who rise above adversity learn to see challenges as opportunities. Instead of feeling defeated, they focus on the lesson within the struggle. Adversity, they understand, does not last forever, but the growth that comes from overcoming it is permanent. They know that challenges are temporary and that they have the strength to push through. One of the key components of rising above adversity is resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks, to keep moving forward even when everything around you seems to be falling apart. It is not about avoiding pain or hardship, but about developing the mental and emotional fortitude to endure. Resilient individuals are not immune to the pain of adversity, they feel it deeply. But they refuse to let it define them or stop them from moving forward. They acknowledge their feelings, process them, and then take the next step, no matter how small. Equally important is the ability to maintain faith in the face of adversity. When life seems unfair or the challenge is too great to overcome, faith becomes the anchor that keeps you grounded. This faith is not simply about believing in better circumstances, but trusting in your ability to navigate through difficult times. It is knowing that you are not alone in your struggles and that there is a greater purpose behind the pain. Faith empowers you to keep going when the way forward seems unclear, and it helps you find hope when all seems lost. Rising above adversity also involves acceptance. Often we resist the reality of our circumstances because we want things to be different. But acceptance is not about resignation, it is about acknowledging the truth of where you are and making a choice to move forward despite it. Acceptance gives you the freedom to stop fighting what you cannot change and focus on what you can control: your thoughts, actions, and responses. Once you accept where you are, you can begin to look for ways to move forward and take action. Another key element is perseverance. Adversity rarely disappears overnight. It requires sustained effort, patience, and determination to overcome. Perseverance means continuing to press on, even when the results are not immediately visible. It is the unwavering commitment to your goals and your vision for the future, regardless of how long it takes or how difficult the journey may be. With perseverance, the impossible becomes possible. and what once seemed insurmountable becomes an achievable goal. Rising above adversity is ultimately about transformation. It is about taking the challenges you face and using them as stepping stones to become the person you are meant to be. Every trial you endure, every obstacle you overcome, is an opportunity to develop new strengths, learn important lessons, and prepare for greater success. The person who rises above adversity is not the same as the one who entered the struggle. They emerge stronger, wiser, and more confident in their ability to handle whatever life throws their way. Rising above adversity is not easy, but it is one of the most empowering things you can do. It is a testament to the power within you and the strength that you possess to overcome any challenge. When you rise above adversity, you not only change your own life, but you inspire those around you to do the same. Taking responsibility for her life is the cornerstone of personal empowerment. It marks a pivotal moment when a woman chooses to no longer blame circumstances, other people, or even her past for where she is. Instead, she steps fully into the role of the author of her own story, taking full ownership of every decision, action, and consequence. This choice requires courage, self-awareness, and the understanding that her life's direction is in her hands. For far too long, many women have fallen into the trap of believing that their circumstances control them. Whether it's a difficult childhood, an abusive relationship, or external pressures like societal expectations, it's easy to feel like a victim of life. But taking responsibility begins when she acknowledges that her current situation is not solely defined by her past or by what others have done to her. She understands that while she may not have control over everything that happens to her, she does have control over how she responds. This shift in mindset is incredibly powerful. It takes the burden of change off others and places it squarely on her own shoulders. Rather than waiting for someone to change or for circumstances to improve, she takes proactive steps to create the life she desires. It is not about blaming herself for past mistakes or missed opportunities. It is about recognizing the power of the present moment and the choices she can make moving forward. Taking responsibility for her life also involves making peace with her past. She stops carrying the weight of regrets or feelings of inadequacy and understands that her history is not her identity. The experiences she has had, no matter how painful or challenging, have equipped her with the wisdom and strength to navigate the future. She uses her past as a foundation to build upon, rather than as a crutch that holds her back. She releases the burden of self-blame and chooses to move forward with confidence and purpose. One of the key aspects of taking responsibility is making choices. Each decision she makes creates her reality. Whether it's in her career, relationships, or personal growth, she understands that the power to shape her future lies within her. She no longer waits for things to happen or for life to hand her opportunities. Instead, she actively creates them by making conscious, intentional choices that align with her values and purpose. She knows that her future will be determined by the choices she makes today. Additionally, taking responsibility means embracing the concept of self-discipline. She holds herself accountable for the actions she takes or doesn't take. It means making decisions that may not always be easy, but are necessary for her growth. She practices consistency, staying committed to her goals, even when the road gets tough. She no longer seeks shortcuts or external validation. She finds fulfillment in knowing that she is doing the work required to reach her highest potential. This responsibility extends to her relationships. She understands that she is not a passive participant in her interactions with others. She takes responsibility for the energy she brings into her relationships and the boundaries she sets. She does not allow others to define her self-worth or happiness, recognizing that her value is inherent and not determined by anyone else's approval or behavior. She also understands that she must contribute to healthy, positive relationships, being mindful of how her actions and words impact those around her. Taking responsibility for her life ultimately leads to freedom. By taking control, she releases herself from the constraints of blame and victimhood. She steps into her power and creates the life she deserves. It is a journey of self-empowerment, a declaration that she is the one who will decide the course of her life, not circumstances, others, or the past. Through this responsibility, she discovers the boundless potential within herself to live a life of purpose, fulfillment, and peace. Cultivating inner strength and wisdom is a lifelong process that empowers individuals to navigate life's challenges with grace, resilience, and purpose. It is the foundation that allows a person to remain grounded in the face of adversity, to make sound decisions, and to evolve into the best version of themselves. Inner strength is not just about physical endurance or sheer willpower. It is the emotional, mental, and spiritual fortitude that enables someone to persevere through difficulties and stay true to their core values. Wisdom, on the other hand, is the ability to apply knowledge in ways that are not only intelligent but also compassionate, measured, and in alignment with one's greater purpose. At the heart of cultivating inner strength is self-awareness. A person must first know themselves deeply, their desires, weaknesses, strengths, fears, and goals before they can build the resilience needed to overcome life's trials. Self-awareness is a tool that allows an individual to recognize their emotional triggers, to understand why they react a certain way in stressful situations, and to make choices that align with their authentic self, rather than being driven by external pressures. Through self-awareness, individuals can harness their inner power and act with intention rather than impulsivity. Building inner strength also requires a mindset shift. It's easy to feel helpless when faced with obstacles, but those who cultivate strength view challenges as opportunities for growth. Instead of succumbing to despair, they embrace discomfort as a catalyst for transformation. They understand that every challenge, no matter how painful, carries a lesson that contributes to their personal evolution. Inner strength is rooted in the belief that every setback is temporary and that the ability to rise again is what defines one's true power. With each setback, their resolve strengthens and their confidence grows. Equally important to inner strength is the cultivation of wisdom, which comes from experience, reflection, and the willingness to learn. Wisdom is not about knowing everything, but about understanding how to make decisions that serve your highest good and the well-being of those around you. It requires the ability to pause before reacting, to consider multiple perspectives, and to choose the course of action that is most aligned with long-term fulfillment rather than short-term satisfaction. Wisdom often emerges from pain and mistakes, as it is through overcoming challenges that one gains valuable insights into life and human nature. Wisdom also involves emotional regulation. It is the capacity to manage one's emotions, even in the most challenging circumstances. Those who are wise do not allow anger, fear, or frustration to control their actions. Instead, they respond thoughtfully, grounded in their values and understanding of the bigger picture. They recognize that emotions are valid, but they do not allow them to dictate their choices. In moments of conflict or tension, they are able to step back, process their feelings, and approach the situation with clarity and composure. Moreover, cultivating inner strength and wisdom requires patience. It is a process that cannot be rushed. Just as a seed must go through various stages of growth before it blossoms into a tree, so too must individuals go through phases of learning, unlearning, and growth. There will be times of doubt, frustration, and stagnation. But those who are committed to cultivating inner strength understand that these moments are part of the journey. Patience allows them to trust the process and to recognize that every small step forward is progress. Ultimately, the combination of inner strength and wisdom creates a powerful foundation for a life of fulfillment and purpose. A person who has cultivated these qualities is not easily swayed by external circumstances. They remain grounded in their values, are adaptable in the face of change, and make decisions that reflect their deep understanding of life and human nature. Inner strength and wisdom are the tools that allow individuals to live with intention, to overcome adversity, and to step into their greatest potential. They provide the clarity and resilience needed to not just survive, but to thrive in a world that is often unpredictable and challenging. Trusting in God's plan for her life is a profound act of faith and surrender that transcends fear, doubt, and the unpredictable nature of life. It is the ability to relinquish control over the future, to release the burden of figuring everything out, and to rest in the knowledge that there is a divine purpose guiding her every step. This trust does not come easily. It requires a deep understanding of God's love, wisdom, and sovereignty, as well as the courage to believe that He is working everything together for her good, even when the path ahead seems unclear. At its core, trusting in God's plan means acknowledging that He is in control and that His plans for her life are far greater than anything she could orchestrate on her own. Life often throws curveballs, and it can be tempting to take matters into her own hands when things don't go according to plan. However, trusting in God involves letting go of the need to control every situation and recognizing that His timing is perfect. Even when doors close or things seem to fall apart, she understands that God is always at work behind the scenes, orchestrating events for her growth and benefit. One of the most difficult aspects of trusting in God's plan is the uncertainty that often accompanies it. The unknown can be a source of anxiety, and it's easy to feel lost or confused when the future seems uncertain. However, it is in these moments of uncertainty that faith is truly tested. Trusting in God means stepping into the unknown with the confidence that He is leading her towards something greater, even if the journey is not immediately clear. She knows that the absence of clarity is not a sign of abandonment, but an invitation to lean deeper into her trust in God. Part of trusting God's plan is understanding that His plans are filled with purpose and meaning. Everything that happens in her life, both the joys and the struggles, is part of a larger story that is being woven together. Even the painful moments are not wasted. They are shaping her, refining her, and preparing her for the future He has designed. While it can be difficult to see the bigger picture during times of hardship, trust allows her to rest in the assurance that every experience is purposeful. She can trust that the pain she endures is not in vain, but is part of her personal transformation and spiritual growth. Trusting in God also requires patience. His plan does not always unfold according to her timeline or expectations, and there are times when waiting feels like the hardest thing to do. However, trusting in God's plan means knowing that His timing is perfect and that He is never late. When things don't happen when she thinks they should, she chooses to wait with expectation, knowing that God is preparing her heart, her character, and her circumstances for what is to come. Patience in the waiting process is a key part of developing a deeper trust in God's plan. Moreover, trusting in God's plan means embracing His will. Even when it differs from her own desires, there may be moments when what God wants for her is not what she imagined for herself. This can be challenging as it requires surrendering personal ambitions and expectations. However, the peace that comes with aligning her will with God's is unparalleled. When she accepts that His plans are designed for her highest good, she can confidently walk in the direction He leads, knowing that His path will always lead to fulfillment, even if it looks different than what she envisioned. Ultimately, trusting in God's plan brings peace. It frees her from the anxiety of trying to control every aspect of her life and allows her to live with a deep sense of trust in God's provision, protection, and guidance. It is a trust that transcends circumstances and flows from a heart that knows without a doubt that God's love and purpose for her life are unwavering. Trusting in God's plan enables her to step into her future with confidence, knowing that she is not alone and that His plan will always be the best path for her life.